Hey everyone, welcome back. I want to talk about the supply and demand of Bitcoin and the scarcity of Bitcoin, but I want to talk about scarcity in general. Everything that we do, everything that we have, humans value scarcity. This is the idea of this whole entire video. Scarcity is what dictates value. Hear me out, right? There's only a few Da Vinci paintings, there's only a few Picasso paintings, and they're worth millions. The whole reason for them being that valuable is not because of the artwork, it's because it's scarce. It's because it's done by somebody and there's going to be no more of it after it's gone. That's why it holds value. If you think about electronics, right? If you think about electronics back in early 2000s, electronics, a big screen TV was worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, right? Why? It's because the parts that they used to make it, they were hard to manufacture. So the scarcity of it was high. But as technology evolves, it made all those, components and everything easy to access and easy to manufacture. So that's what brought the price of those electronics down. Technology evolution, making things more convenient, making things more easily accessible. If you look at gold and silver, the reason why gold is so valuable is because the supply of it is very low compared to everything else. You use gold for multiple things, right? You wear it as a jewelry, you put it inside your electronics. Now think about if gold was plentiful. Do you think gold would be valuable then? No. Here's another analogy, right, of scarcity being, valuable. Athletes. There are only a certain amount of players that's able to become professional athletes, and they get paid millions of dollars. It's because the athletic ability is worth a lot because it's rare. They're the top 1% of the 1% that get into professional, NFL, soccer, or basketball, or tennis, golf. Those are all the top 1% of the 1%. And that skill level is rare. That's why they get paid the big bucks, right? I mentioned this before in my other video that endangered species are worth a lot of money. Why? Because they're endangered. There's not many of them left. Just the sole fact that they're endangered and after that there won't be any more left makes them valuable. They don't provide anything for us, but because they're endangered, we gotta preserve them because they're rare. We spent millions and millions of dollars to try to save these animals, try to save these endangered species. Whether it's plants, insects, animals, if it's scarce, we will try to preserve it. Now, one of the scarcest assets that humans take for granted and can never get back is time. Time is the only thing that we cannot get back. All those things that we have though are a measure of scarcity, a measure of value, right? But all those can be reproduced. If you think about athletes, right? It's rare, but it's there's still a constant supply of new people, new humans being born to fill that role. Same thing with the endangered species, right? Everything can be man-made. They can be made more of, right? Gold, more mining, silver, more mining. Endangered species, now scientists are finding a way to take the DNA and clone them and bring them back to life. The one thing that humans can never get back, and it's very, very valuable to us, and people will pay millions and billions of dollars for, is time. It's time and youth, vitality. We can never get that back. It's only finite asset that we have that once it's gone, it's gone. Now bring in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the only other asset, the only other thing that humans cannot make more of. They could try. Have tried in the past to make more Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV. And for the last 10 plus years, Bitcoin has been fighting the fight and has come out on top every single time. Bitcoin is the only other asset comparable to something as valuable as time to us humans. Now you might be asking why? Why is Bitcoin just as valuable as time? It's because you can't get it back. There's only ever going to be 21 million of it, right? I think there's about 3 to 4 million, maybe even 5 million Bitcoin lost forever. They will never be able to get that back. And you might be thinking well, there's altcoins, there's ETH. The thing is, Bitcoin's a winner. The fact that the ETFs and the asset managers have an ETF for Bitcoin now, it's a kingmaker, right? That's the kingmaker. Why do you think they didn't just, have a crypto ETF where it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Cardano, and all this other asset combined together and then just put that out there, right? Why is it only just Bitcoin? It's because all of them agreed that Bitcoin is the one that they want and they don't care about anything else. There's the Ethereum ETF that might be coming out, maybe, but since Jim Cramer says it's right around the corner, I highly doubt it's going to come out this year. Maybe another 2-3 years down the line, maybe they'll think about it. But as for now, all eyes is on Bitcoin. All eyes are on Bitcoin because it's the only finite asset. It's the only finite asset. So now we have basic rudimentary understanding of scarcity and value. I want to talk about Bitcoin supply and demand, right? This is a supply and demand from HODL15 Capital on Twitter. This is week 9, right? Week 9, all the ETFs together, they bought 33K worth of Bitcoin. And the amount that was mined and created was only 6,300 in week 9. Now let's take a look at this chart. This chart shows how much buying occurred every single week since Bitcoin ETF inception. Every single week, there has been an average buying of at least 25K Bitcoin. And the price has only gone up a little bit because there has been, the GBTC selling to counteract all the positive buying. But the buying pressure is not going to stop. The ETF conservative allocation is 1%. Conservative. There has been leaks from BlackRock saying that the allocation you should have is like 84%. I think there was a recent one that says you need to have an allocation of like 24%. You know how crazy that is? 1% is very, 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 very conservative. I think 1% is a joke to these people. I don't think they can allocate 1%. I think they're just saying that for retail to be, it's not a big deal. But behind the scenes, they're probably telling their customers to get like as much as you can, because 30K buying every single week, bruh. And it's only gonna ramp up because of game theory. All these asset managers, they're fighting against each other for a finite supply of something that's as rare as time. I know there's a lot of questions surrounding Bitcoin in terms of like what makes Bitcoin so special. Just because it's rare doesn't mean it's worth any value. And I'll make a video about that in the future, why Bitcoin is worth it, is valuable. But in this video, I just want to talk about the scarcity and the supply and demand, just simple ideas, right? If they're buying up 33K Bitcoin every single week, and right now there's only 6,300 minted per week. When the halving happens, the amount of newly minted Bitcoin is going to get cut in half. If the buying pressure stays the same, we're about to get double the amount of price action for it. In poker, there's like different tables with different pots and sizes that you could play at. There's like 50-cent hands, and then there's the big tables where it's like 30K buy-in, 100K buy-in. If you're holding Bitcoin right now, you're playing with the trillionaires. BlackRock holds $10 trillion under management. Trillionaires are in the game, and you're still bearish about that. You're still talking about bear cycles and this and that, and like, oh, sell pressure. Who's selling? Who is selling? Take a look at this post by HODL 15 Capital. The only people who are selling are people who have 100 Bitcoin or less. And who are the ones buying? It's the whales. The whales are the only ones buying. Why? It's because the whales are rich. The whales are rich and they don't need to sell. They don't need to sell. We retail, we need to sell because, we want life-changing money, right? But the problem is we're so short-sighted compared to the people who are rich that they can be like, oh, like, yeah, let them sell. I'll pay $1 million for this Bitcoin. No problem. It'll be worth 100 in the future because it's a finite asset. Once you sell it to these whales in the future, you're going to be like, oh, I want some Bitcoin now. I could buy it back. You can't, because the whales aren't going to sell. They ain't going to sell it to you. If anything, they'll just take a loan out on it. You'll be shit out of luck. You'll be working for the whales making Satoshis. If this data doesn't prove to you that you should not sell your Bitcoin, right? I mean, I get it. Like, if you need to pay bills and everything, do that. But if you're selling just because of the fact that like, oh, I want a better lifestyle, selling your Bitcoin is the worst decision of your life, especially before the bull run, especially before the halvings, especially before options and all this stuff that's going to come out for Bitcoin. The supply of Bitcoin is finite. There's only ever going to be 21 million. And there's 8 billion people in the world. 8 billion people. If you do the math, 21 million Bitcoin divided by 8 billion people in the world, every person can only own 0.0026 Bitcoin. When I think about the math about all of this, I get anxiety. I get anxiety that I don't have enough. I get anxiety about the fact that like this is way bigger than anyone can imagine. And BlackRock's buying up 30K. Think about how many people won't be able to even get that in the future. It blows my mind how people don't understand that like Bitcoin is the king. Larry Fink gave Bitcoin the stamp of approval. He's literally on TV telling you what to do now. I mean, granted, before he was on TV saying like Bitcoin's not good for ESG or whatever it was, and like he wouldn't touch it. But now he's on TV saying like, yeah, like this is good. You want to know why? It's because he has the ETF approval now. It's because he's in the game and he's able to buy it now. Before he wasn't able to. So he was trying to stop all of us from getting ahead of him. And now that he has the ETF out and he's able to get in and buy it all up, now he's telling us, oh yeah, it's great. It's a new thing. Get some. The game being played right now is called generational wealth. Bitcoin will be generational wealth. I mean, Larry Fink is on TV talking about how Bitcoin is digital gold. Think about being able to grab all that gold back then. Generational wealth, right? If you had all that gold from back then, generational wealth. Think about if you were able to buy up all the, properties in New York City, generational wealth. And now he's on TV talking about this thing's gonna be digital gold. It's a global asset. A global asset. What else do you know that's a global asset? Anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, give me a subscribe, comment down below what you think. If you really do like the video and you think this message is important, share it to your friends, let them know, let them see this. And yeah, thank you. Peace.